Hi everyone, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever in the world you are. My name is Lena and today I'm interviewing lovely Sheila here. I just met recently and she is a sleep and a dream coach, and that really fascinated me because I've met so many sleep coaches but I've never met a dream coach. So today we're going to hear more about what Sheila does and what do dreams actually mean. Maybe you can help me interpret my dream. So, hi Sheila, and welcome. It's so good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's absolute pleasure. Can you just tell me a little bit about yourself and how did you actually come to be known as a dream coach?
Well, I go by the title of the Dream Decipherer, and it does what it says on the tin, as they say. Basically, I was born with the gift of dream interpretation. I come from a fifth in the line of women, and probably extends back even further than that, who were dreamers and dreamed to help other people in various matters. Now, I didn't start out intending to do this work at all. And in fact, over the years, I've kind of shied away from that aspect of myself until a dream saved my life. And it was like, dreams really are important and people should be listening to them more. And that's when I started several years ago to really kind of own up to who I was, so to speak. It's culminated in my becoming and being known as the Dream Decipherer. I work with people's dreams, but I realized that if people weren't sleeping well, they also needed help with sleep. So that's where the sleep and dream came from. But principally, I just absolutely adore working with people's dreams and helping them pull out what I call the gold and the gobbledygook of their dreams, and use that information to make good decisions about their lives.
Our dreams are so fascinating. And the other day I was listening, I think it was a program, or no, it's a book. I think it was a book called by Michael Singer. And he talks about the tribe in Amazon, and they get up at the crack of dawn, like 3-4 o'clock, and they all get together by the village fire. And the whole tribe comes together to talk about the dreams because they believe that their dreams is the actual reality and that what we deem as reality is actually our dream. What is your view on that?
Well, there's so many cultures that still hold dreams in very high regard. In the Aborigine people of Australia, you talk about Native Americans in South America, but the Hopi people, the elders sit down to dream the future that their grandchildren will have. So, they're dreaming the world into being. So there are still many cultures around the world that have not placed their inner world apart from them and become disconnected from it. They're still very much attached to it. And the messages that are unconscious picks up from the wider world. We can only focus on a very narrow band of whatever is going on around us at any given time. Otherwise, our brains would just blow a gasket. It's literally from information overload. So, but the unconscious is clocking everything that's going on, from the birds singing outside to the washing machine going out there to people arguing down the street. It's clocking all of that information. And then what sifts through it, and what's important, it floats up. But we're not distracted with our daily lives in the dreams, but in other forms as well. So it's really about tapping into that inner wisdom that we have, but we're so externalized. Everything is out there, out there, out there, that we don't give any credence to dreams anymore. And actually, the church was part of that as well, strangely enough. The early church believed very greatly in dreams, as did many ancient cultures. But once the church started to get organized, they threw out all the early doctrine of the church that talked about dreams, and became, you know, the body was one thing and the soul was something else, and you didn't mess with the soul, and that included dreams, I suppose. So we've lost that connection, and it's interesting that you see so many people turning to shamanism, and Wicca and other things that are more nature-based, earth-based, soul-based kinds of connections, to trying to find that lost bit of ourselves and connect more widely, not only with the wider world, but with ourselves as well. So I would say that they've got it right. In the end, they got it right. Well, I mean, because I know from my own experience how, because I've been recording dreams, my dreams and other people's dreams since childhood. So I see a progression in my life as I've listened or not, sometimes not, to my dreams, and where it has led me. So I do believe that dreams have not only an emotional and spiritual purpose, but a psychological one as well. And there's quite a lot of evidence to indicate that dreams are emotional smokestacks. For example, you know, somebody cuts you off on the way to work. You had a fight with your partner, or your kids are driving you mad, you hate your boss, whatever it is. During the nighttime, all of that stuff that we didn't deal with during the day comes up at night, and which can account for some of the crazy dreams that people will have, particularly about work. But there are other purposes. There was a study done at the University of Minnesota, and it was with divorced women who were dreaming, divorced versus were women who were not. And what they found is that when they did sleep studies, and the women who were dreaming were woken up during their REM sleep, that they were thinking about their marriage or aspects of their relationship, as opposed to the women who didn't dream at all, or couldn't remember them. And the women who couldn't remember them actually stayed depressed for far longer, and had trouble processing their lives, as well as having disturbed sleep. So there's an actual psychological function for our mental health that dreams fulfill. People who drink or take drugs, for example, don't dream. But when they stop, and I used to be a drug and alcohol counselor, when they stop drinking or taking drugs, they dream constantly. It's like the unconscious is literally throwing everything they've pressed down for so long constantly, which is why some of them seem to have hallucinations when they're awake. It's the unconscious flooding their consciousness, and they're just out of their heads, so to speak, or rather in their heads, but in a complete jumble. So it's not just, you know, the result of a dodgy dinner, which, you know, or bad wine. Dreams really have an actual function that keeps us healthy psychologically and emotionally.
So I personally don't really dream, and if I do, a lot of it would be related to things that I kind of envisage in the future. So, you know, I've got all of the things that I need to accomplish, and sometimes, you know, I wake up like, this is already done, or this is what I need to do. But most of the time, I don't really dream. So what is it? Does it actually mean it's going to happen, or does it mean completely opposite? Because I often heard that, for example, if you dream of birth, it means somebody's going to die, and vice versa. You know, what does that even mean, all of that?
Well, you know, I get this all the time, and dreams come from us, are about us, and yes, it will incorporate the wider world into our dreams, especially people dreaming about viruses and all kinds of stuff these days. But it's about you. And, you know, unless nearly 8 billion people on the planet you know, have 2 kids, one who's autistic, you've always wanted to dance, and you hate your job, a dream book isn't going to help you. Quite frankly, you're an individual. Your dream is for you. And therefore, it's the symbols that appear in your dream are for you, and about you and pertinent to you. So, which is why I have a dream interpretation course, an online course that I show people in simple steps how to be able to actually crack the code of their dreams, because it is a code. The unconscious speaks in a very particular way. And once you understand how it works, and then learn to understand what those symbols that appear in your dream mean for you, then you start to crack the code, and it becomes much easier to understand your dreams. So dream books, they're not really very useful. I mean, universal symbols that relate to things that happen to all humans on the planet, like sex and death, yes. Even universal symbols like that will appear in people's dreams, even if it's from a different culture or in a different language, because it's the basic substrata of all human existence. And so those things are universal, and they can appear to people who have never seen them or heard them before. But they still, wow. Yeah, I mean, dreams are amazing things. They really are. And they're very, if I'll put it this way, if advertisers were as good as compacting information into sound bites like dreams are, boy, they would have us coming and going for days, because, you know, what seems like a dream that goes on for an hour may only be about, at most, 20 minutes. But in that 20 minutes, there is so much information you would not believe. You were just amazed at just how much, how compact and efficiently dreams will transmit information. It's quite amazing.
So would you then ask somebody to keep like a record of the dream, or how do you work with people in the dream? Because I don't remember mine. How would you do that?
Well, first of all, I have, as part of this dream interpretation course, I teach people how to, first of all, to relax enough to get into the deeper levels of sleep so that they're dreaming, and how to remember techniques to actually improve the communication between the right and left hemispheres of the brain. Because the right brain, which is what most people use, which counts, evaluates, and makes judgments about things, when a dream comes, it's like, can't deal with this, it's nonsense. But it's the left side of the brain that is I've got it backwards. It's the right side of the brain that's the creative, emotional, spiritual side of ourselves that's image rich. And that's how the unconscious speaks. It speaks in images for various reasons. So, but to develop more coherence between the two hemispheres of the brain means that when a dream does come up, the left brain can evaluate it on a cognitive basis without going dodgy dinner and just dismissing it. So, and interestingly enough, women have more of these neurons, connections, neural pathways between the two halves of the brain. And I think the reason for that is because we have children, and we're always communicating with the children. So they're, you know, and have to extrapolate to try to figure out what a baby is crying about. So there's more coherence in that sense. But we can all improve the synapses and make those connections even stronger and tighter, so that dreams can be understood. So I teach how simple exercises to help do that as well. So there's the 3 elements is to manifest, to call the dreams up, to remember them, because a lot of people say, I don't remember dreams, or I don't dream. All mammals dream. If you've ever had a cat or dog, you know, see them digging in their sleep or barking or meowing, they dream too. But if we're sleeping at too deep a level, or but for some reason are bypassing the normal stages of sleep, we won't be able to access those dreams and remember them. And there's tips and tools that you can do to help that as well. So it's about preparing the mind, preparing the body to be able to receive the dream. And even people who say that, you know, they don't dream, they have bad dreams, I've been able to working with them, have been able to get them not only to dream, but to remember dreams. And there's a proviso about that. If people say, oh, but I don't remember most of my dreams. 50% of a dream is forgotten in the first 5 minutes of waking up. So even me, we're not, you know, we all have that issue. But there are things, again, we can do to improve that. But the thing is the information that has the most emotional charge or energy behind it is what you'll remember. The other stuff, if it needs to come up, it will come up. But the things that are really on top and that you really need to deal with first, so to speak, will be the things that you remember, even if it's, you know, something seems completely off the wall. But that's probably why you remember it, because it was completely off. Oh God, what a weird dream that was, you know. So yeah. I tell people not to get too worried if they can't remember all of the details. You will remember what's most important.
Yeah, and you're completely correct about the emotional charge. I think we spoke about my dream about the Akashic records. It completely just blew me away, you know, because it's not something I even thought I even was aware of. And I had the same thing twice in one night. I mean, obviously there was a strong message in that message.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I still haven't followed through.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and that's what repetitive dreams are about. It's like, you're not getting this? Okay, I'm going to send it to you again and again and again until you get it. And then if you don't listen gently, it starts to give you a shove in the back. And I've literally had the universe knock me flat because I wasn't getting the message. So it's best to listen the first time.
When we have a bad dream, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a bad thing happening for us. It doesn't, right? Okay.
Not necessarily. It is something that you may be very concerned about, that you may actually have some fears around, and it comes up as a scary, you know, a monster or whatever it is, or somebody chasing you or something. So, but again, you always have to look at the context of the dream and the person's life. You know, they may be feeling like, you know, the knives are out for them at work. I mean, but yeah, how the dream, it translates in the dream is that maybe there are these unknown faces or people or creatures running after them with claws out, ready to, you know, to dig into their back. So, you know, you have to look at the circumstances surrounding the dream. Sometimes it could actually be a dodgy dinner, eating too late and then going to sleep. But quite often, it's actually a message of something that is of great concern. There's a number of clients that have come to me because of nightmares, actually. And oh my God, what's going to happen? But when we broke it down and looked at it, it was their concern or fear around a particular area of their lives that was creating this scenario that frightened them so. And once we worked through it, they were like, oh, well, that wasn't so bad, actually. It's really quite funny to see that happen, but it invariably does. But it's just like a red flag that the unconscious is waving for the person to really sit up and take notice, that there's something going on that they need to look at.
Yeah, no, I can completely understand it. It must be also so kind of relieving for them to know that only because the dream of somebody getting sick or dying, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. And
not necessarily.
Yeah, because a dream like that can really put you in a weird mood for the rest of the day, and it happened to me before. So if somebody wanted to, to find out more about it, about your course or one-to-one sessions, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me on my website, which is www.SheilaBalgobin, my entire name, all lowercase, one word, .com. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Pinterest, I'm on Instagram. I'm pretty much everywhere. If you look up the Dream Decipherer, which is my title, how I call myself, you'll be able to find me in any of those places.
Right, thank you. But yeah, Sheila will share all her contacts with me, and I will put them in the comments below the comment box. I mean the post. So if anyone interested, just reach out to Sheila and get your dream interpreted, I guess. So
well, I offer a free session, free no obligation session called Slip into Sleep Sessions. You can book there to whether you have a question about sleep or a question about a dream. You can contact me there, and you'll get some tips to help, simple things, drug-free, natural things that you can do to help you to sleep better, or get some tips on how to look at your dreams so that you can extract the information from it.
That's great to know. I might actually take you up on it because it's something I've been wanting to.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, for a while. So
well, yeah, you could actually do that and come back and tell people what happened, what the experience was like, and how was it for you.
Yeah, I just first need to get a dream I remember, and then I will be in touch. That is not about work.
Yeah, it's hard to, but I mean, if to be able to dream, you need to be able to sleep well. So if you're not sleeping well, that would maybe the first step is to find out about what's keeping you from sleeping, going through the proper stages of sleep so that you can reach that dream state where things are actually happening.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I guess you can't dream if you can't sleep. So, taken. Yeah. But it's been an absolute pleasure having you, Sheila. Thank you so much for sharing all this information with us. And as I said, I will be sharing all your details in a post below. So please reach out to Sheila with any questions you may have when you sleep or dream or both. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And
thank you. You as well.
Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.